Hello, hope you're doing great. This is Maria Rajan, your friendly software engineer. And in this video, we're going to talk about function overriding of classes in C++. Alright, so in a previous video, we talked about inheritance, right? So we talked about how we can make use of, we can create a base class and then we can have these child classes, which we can set it up to inherit from the base class. Thereby, all the child classes get all the variables and functionalities of the base class for free, right? They just can inherit those attributes like just by being a child of a base class, right? So we talked about that, and in this video we're going to talk about a concept that is an extension of that of that idea of inheritance, okay, which is function overriding. Okay, so this is not function overloading. Okay, that's a different concept. We'll talk about it in another video, but what we are going to talk about in this video is function overriding of a class, right? So what does that mean? So let's say you have a base class and the base class has got a particular function, right? And we know that by definition, when you have a child class which inherits from a base class, all the child classes will by definition of inheritance get that functionality for free. So if this particular base class has a functionality to be to have let's say this particular base class has a function to open this bottle, that means automatically the child classes will also have that functionality to be openable, right? You will have the same function in the child classes as well to open the bottle. Now what if yes, both the base class and the child classes need to have that function, yes, they should be openable, but the mechanism in which they open, right? What if they are different, right? Like what if this bottle, this parent bottle opens, it does open, the function is the same, the end result is the same, but the mechanism in which it opens, the way it is implemented is different when compared to the child classes. Like let's say this child wants to implement the opening mechanism in a different way compared to this child, right? So in that case, you still want to have the same function, right? The same function call, you still want to have that, but you want to override that function to implement this child's unique way of implementing that mechanism, that opening mechanism, right? So in that cases, even though the children have that function of the base class, the function, right, like you can basically override the behavior. You don't need to necessarily use the same behavior, same mechanism that the parent uses to implement the same end result, right? So that's what function overriding essentially enables us to do. For example, let's say that this bottle, right? So let's consider this bottle to be model A. Okay, this is the first generation bottle. Okay, so it's just a plain bottle, but let's consider this model to be model A. Now this bottle essentially serves two functions. Okay, so it does have all the other properties such as like color, material, weight, dimensions, and so on, but we're not going to focus on that, right? We're just going to focus on the functionalities. Okay, so this bottle has these two functions. Okay, so one is it can open to fill water. Okay, open, so let's say, so this bottle will have a function to say open to fill water, okay, or liquids, or any liquids you can store, but we'll just consider them to be water bottles for now. So the first function is open bottle to fill. You just call it like that, open bottle to fill. So how do you implement, what is the mechanism to open this bottle to fill? So the way you do that is like basically twist this cap, right? Twist this cap, and now you have opened the bottle to fill it. So you just basically go and fill it with any liquid like water or whatever, juice or whatever you want. You just fill it here, and then like you have the function to close it as well, right? And then the other main functionality, the one that is so the other main functionality that bottle must serve is you should be able to open bottle to drink, right? So that's another main thing, right? So that's the reason. So to be able to drink it afterwards is the reason you're filling it in the first place, right? So now the second main functionality that the bottle needs to have is to be openable to drink the water, right? So now we can call it open bottle for drinking, right? So in this case, in this model, the mechanism is the same, right? So that means again, when you call the function open bottle to drink, that again is going to just you would have to just twist the main cap, right? And that's how you can drink water or any liquids from this bottle, right? So that's the parent class's mechanism. This is the model A, the first generation bottle, right? So that's what it is. Cool. So we have a model A. So I'll just keep it here. Now, let's say you now want to create a second generation bottle. Okay, so a new advanced version, or like something, like you have come up with a better way, a better mousetrap, right? Better way of doing what this bottle in the first generation did. So now you are creating a second generation bottle. Okay, so one variation. Okay, so now this is the base class, model A. Now you have your model B. Okay, this bottle is the model B. Now this model B, right, is going to inherit from this model A. Okay, so that's the relationship as. So for this model B, the parent of model B is model A. Okay, this is the parent and this is the child, right? So automatically this model B inherits all the properties, all the variables, functionalities of model A. Okay, so that just comes for free. But then the way this bottle wants to implement the functionality to open bottle for drinking, right? We want it to be different than this bottle. Like the first function of open bottle for filling, like in this case, in this model B, open bottle for filling. So those two functions, that's the two things that I'm considering. The function open bottle for filling, right, is the same. It's literally the same. You just need to twist the main cap, and thereby you can fill this bottle with liquids, right? You can fill it with water. So that's the same. That's literally the same. So you don't even need to change it. You just like inherit it from the parent class, right? From the parent's base model 1. So from this model A, you can just inherit it from there. But the open bottle for drinking, that functionality, the second functionality, you want to do something creative here. You want to do something like different, right? So in this bottle, open bottle for drinking, here the mechanism is different. See, like here, instead of twisting again, the plain own way, instead of twisting and opening the main cap, here you don't need to do that, right? You don't need in the model B, which is a child of model A. Here you just need to turn turn open this foldable straw. Okay, so if you can see it's got the straw. Okay, it's got the straw that could be turned open. Okay, so and then after you drink it, you can just turn it back to be closed, right? So this is the mechanism. So for you to drink, the function that you call open bottle for drinking, what this will do, it won't twist and turn and open. Okay, so instead, the functionality, the mechanism is implemented in a different way. So here you just need to flip this open. You just need to turn the straw, this foldable straw, to be open, so that you just drink from this straw. So that's the mechanism in this bottle, right? So now it does have the same functionality, that is open bottle for drinking. So the base class also had that functionality, and the child is also having the same functionality, open bottle for drinking, but the mechanism is different. So the child is overriding, right? It does not just take whatever was given to it by the parent, it's overriding the functionality of the parent in the child class, right? So that's basically what a function overriding is. And we can see that the same function exists in the child, but the mechanism in which it was implemented is different. And there are many cases where you want to do this, right? Like let's say this model, we call it model C. And let's say this model C is also like a child of model A, right? So here again you have those two functionalities. The first function is basically to open bottle for filling, right? So here again in this model C as well, you can open the bottle for filling, right? So you can fill it with water. But then like the second functionality, which is open bottle for drinking, in this case like it's a different mechanism, right? It's a different mechanism. Here you don't even need to flip a foldable straw open. You don't need to turn that, you don't need to even do this, right? You don't need to manually flip the straw open in this model. In this model, the mechanism is different. Here you just have a button. Okay, so if you click on this button, if you just press this button, there's this another lid that opens up, and it has got the straw which you can use to drink from. So that's the mechanism of this particular bottle, model C. And the same functionality exists, open bottle for drinking. The mechanism in which it is implemented is different in model C. But both of these two models, right, model B and C, are the children of the parent class, the model A model, right? So that's what basically function overriding enables you to do, right? It enables you to still retain the functions of the base class, but overriding the mechanism in which it is implemented in the child class. Cool. So let's just implement this in code and see how it all comes together. All right. So to start with, we will need our parent class, right? The base class. So here, it is model A, right? And this model A is just going to have those two functionalities. Like we're going to implement those two functionalities alone. So it's not going to return anything. So it's just a function called open. And yeah, let's just make this access identifier to be public for now. We'll talk about these access modifiers in another video. For now, we'll just make them all public. So here we'll have this function called open bottle OTTLE for filling. Just call this bottle model A. Okay. So open bottle for filling. So that's the first function, right? And let's also have the implementation of this. So here, how does bottle A open? How do you open bottle A for filling? So you just twist the main cap, right? Twist the main cap. So let's write it down. So let's just have a print statement stdcout for doing that. So we'll just say stdcout twist and turn main cap, right? So that's the mechanism. Okay, so perfect. So that's the mechanism for this function in bottle A. So then we can have the bottle open bottle for drinking, right? So that's another main functionality, drinking. So this, how will you do that? So it's the same thing, right? It's twist and turn the main cap. So that's the same mechanism in bottle A. So even for drinking, that's the same mechanism that you're using. So cool. So this is cool, right? So the bottle A model is ready, and we can just test it out, right? So here, if you create an instance, so this is a specification, right? This is just a class. It's a specification. It's not just it's not an instance anymore. Not yet an instance. So in order to create an instance, this is created. So just say model A, right? So model A, right? So if you just go here and say dot open bottle for drinking and model A dot open bottle for filling, right? So first you fill and then you drink, right? So yeah, okay, cool. So you have this already. Now if you just execute this code, you can see that as expected, both the mechanisms are twist and turn the main cap and twist and turn the main cap for filling or and drinking, right? Cool. So this is perfect. And as a matter of fact, let's just even just have this as a prefix, filling. This is for filling and this is for drinking, right? Cool. So this is perfect. Model model A is ready. Okay. So now the next thing is we want to have model B, right? So the next bottle that we are creating is model B. So for model B, let's just also create a class bottle model B, right? And this is a child of model A, right? So that means we need to inherit in a public manner, public bottle A. Okay, so bottle A is being inherited by bottle B. Okay, so bottle A is being inherited by bottle B. Yeah, it's right. So bottle A is the parent and bottle B is the child. And so that means you get all this functionality of bottle A for free. And the main function, so the filling function, there's no change, right? So in bottle B, the model B also, there's no change in the functionality for filling it with water. So we just get that for free, right? So the only thing that we want to change, right? The only thing that we want to override is how we drink from it, right? So the mechanism of drinking is, instead of twist and turn main cap, here we have, fold open the foldable straw. Yeah, fold open, turn open. We'll just call it turn open the foldable straw. So that's the mechanism here. All right. So let's just do that. So here, like in model B, we just have the same functionality, which is open bottle for drinking, so and here we just, for drinking, the mechanism is turn open foldable straw. Yeah, so that's it. So that's the mechanism here. So now if we didn't have this function here, right, so it's basically the same function, we just calling it with the same signature, same name. If we did not have this function here, what would have happened is, like in model B as well. So let me just create that model B, like as a matter of fact, like just copy this, and here for model B, model B. So see, I've commented out, right? So there's no implementation here in for model B. It's just a pure, we're just inheriting it, yeah, from model A, right? So that means if I, try to open bottle for, so this is model B. So if I, open model B for filling or for drinking, it's just going to, use the same mechanism, which is twist and turn main cap, right? So as a matter of fact, let's just prove that, before we uncomment this. So if you run this code now, you can see that, yeah, see, the filling mechanism of, the first bottle is twist and turn main cap, twist and turn main cap. The second model B also twist and turn main cap, twist and turn main cap. So there's no change whatsoever. It's just it's literally the same. Just only the name is different. Otherwise, the functionality is exactly the same. So we need to change that, right? We need to modify that. So as a matter of fact, let's just add a simple print here just to see what we are printing out, right? So this is model A, okay, and we have model B. Cool. So here, let's uncomment this function that we are overriding, right? So here, this is literally, we're overriding this open bottle for drinking functionality of model A, right? So we are overriding the parent class's function mechanism. So now, just by uncommenting it, like this, it's got the same signature, right? So now, if we see what's going to happen, let's just make sure that this is also public, right? In a class, by default, all the members are private, right? So let's just make it public also. Okay, so cool. So now let's just run this. Okay, and yes, as expected, model A, the filling is twist and turn, drinking is also twist and turn main cap. But model B, the filling mechanism is coming from the parent, right? So the mechanism is twist and turn the main cap, but the drinking mechanism, turn open foldable straw, right? So turn opening, I think it should be a turn open, yeah, it's type. Yeah, so it's basically turn open foldable straw. So that mechanism has been overridden, in model B, right? The drinking mechanism. That's pretty cool, right? So let's just quickly fix that typo. Turn open, right? So it's open. Cool. So that's what it is, right? And similarly, now if you want to have model C, which is this bottle, which has this button mechanism, like it's got this button mechanism which just opens this additional lid and has a straw and all those things. So yeah, we can have this as well, right? So this is model C. So model C is also a child of model A, right? And here the mechanism is, again, we are overriding the mechanism of model A. Okay, so here again the drinking is press button to open drinking lid. Yeah, so that's what it is. This is the drinking lid. Okay, so you get the point. So when you press this button, here the mechanism is like it's got the top lid. We just call it top lid, maybe, or open top lid. Yeah, so that's the mechanism here. Okay, so again, now like if you just go here and create an instance of model C, right? So bottle model C, model C, model C, and model C, you will be able to see that model C's drinking mechanism alone has changed, right? See, the filling mechanism is still the same. It's coming from the parent, twist and turn main cap, right? So that's coming from the parent, but the drinking mechanism, right, has changed in model C. Now it is overridden, right? The mechanism is overridden to be able to support this press button to open top lid functionality, right? And similarly, model B also, like that second mechanism, the drinking mechanism alone, we have changed. We have overridden, instead of just directly inheriting it, the mechanism of model A. So that's what basically function overriding enables us to do. It basically enables us to change the mechanism of the functionality that we inherit from the parent or the base class. I hope this video on function overriding of classes in C++ was useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in another video. Cheers.